Haley, I have a gazillion. I'm literally looking at sticky pads all over the place with just questions for you. But I'm gonna just kind of go out of like what I planned to initially ask you and just go with this one. How in the world did you pull off the Never Have I twin video thing? That was beyond crazy, and my mind was blown. If you've taken the time to actually read all those comments on your YouTube page, people are beyond confused about how you pulled that off. Wow, I have a twin too. So much craziness. Just what was the whole purpose behind that? I loved it. I loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, it was just something fun that I wanted to do. Like I was just kind of playing around with different content to put out, and I do a lot of my own video editing, so it was just kind of like something that I was like looking into trying, and I thought it was just like, yeah, a cool thing to do, and it actually really worked out great. I wasn't sure if people were gonna actually believe it, but a lot of people were fooled and thought that I had a twin. So.
No, okay, and where does the name Erica come from? Because at first like that's what really threw me off first. It wasn't like I'm Bailey, right? It was like, yo, I'm Erica and I'm here with like, so that, and then, as I'm watching, I'm looking at the tattoos, I'm looking at the ring, I'm looking at the nose ring, I'm like, okay, wait, okay, boom, got it. Just another moment or two on that conversation, like Erica, and how, was it nerve-wracking? Was it fun? Was it exciting with the editing process?
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. I think like trying new things when it comes to like music or editing or just like content in general is always fun to execute. And the name Erica just comes from my middle name.
Got you. But there is somebody in reality, real life, that I definitely wanted to kind of drag into this conversation, which is Mackenzie, who we often see quite a bit, right? We'll see her in the videos, we'll see her on IG, looking like, yo, she's loyal to the soil. Talk about who in real life Mackenzie is to you.
So Mackenzie is my cousin. A lot of people refer to us as sisters. We basically are sisters because we grew up together and we've been very close all our lives. So yeah, we've just been really close. She's an artist as well and an actress. And so, we've just been very supportive of each other in our journeys forward. So, because we're naturally close and I'm very supportive of what she's doing and vice versa, she just kind of, we always kind of end up in each other's vibes, and we help each other a lot. So yeah.
No, definitely. How has this been because you both have different journeys, but like still in that same realm of entertainment, fun, excitement. Definitely just kind of talk about seeing her journey, and then of course, maybe tips and pointers you can give to her. Having been in the industry for a handful of years, seeing things change and evolve. Just what's that like, seeing each other's journeys?
It's really cool, like you said, we have different journeys. Obviously, each person has their own journey and path and purpose. So it's not one size fits all, but I've tried my best to just offer her whatever support and guidance I can, and she's great. She's so talented, and she she's very multi-talented in a lot of different areas. So yeah, it's very cool to have somebody that you care about and that you've known your whole life, and kind of to just go on these kind of parallel journey together. So yeah, I think that's always going to be a thing with us, just in moving forward. A lot of people kind of package us together. So yeah, it's cool.
Definitely. And it seems like you both have like a really dope energy to each other. Like it's really cool to see you both just like I said, on social media posts, in videos as well. And it's like, wow. Because yeah, my first thought was, oh wow, that's Haley's sister. But the fact that your cousin is super dope.
Yeah, for sure. I love her.
I gotta ask, has it always been the first thought, is it small or smalls? I know stage-wise it is smalls, but then like in the videos, like introducing Mackenzie small and then Papa small. So is it technically small and then we threw the S on, or has it always just been smalls?
So my family name is Small. That's our family name. But I found that in my musical journey throughout my career, nobody could ever get that right. Like they would always say Smalls. Even people that I've known in like my career for years, they would still say Smalls. They would refer to my family as Smalls. So I was just like, you know what? Instead of correcting people, I'm just gonna let people do what they want. So.
No, and that's crazy because you know what? I was gonna say, kind of going with the whole alias and being introduced as Haley Smalls. Joe Budden went through it as well. I know when Joe Budden was coming out, I'd always hear like even his friends like DJ Envy when I would call him Buttons, and it was just so you always hear that plural, and I kind of now wonder like if it's just. I've never heard Kendrick Lamar's, but you know what I mean? Certain names, you just get that crazy ass. Was there ever any thought or like a play on a different name, like stage alias, or was it always, I want to be Haley Smalls in the industry?
I think for me, I always really like pictured my name being my alias, or my name being my stage name. So I've kind of like always seen that since I was a kid. So there were times when I contemplated changing it. It was more so for business reasons, because in the past when I was like younger, I had some bad contracts that I was in. So in order to kind of remedy that, I was considering changing my name at times, but
Okay.
I didn't have to. And so I was happy about that. I kind of definitely wanted to keep my name how it was. And yeah, the S just made its way on there. Everybody was always attaching the S. And, you know, obviously because you have Biggie Smalls too, I think the familiarity, like
Yeah.
people just automatically, when they hear small, they hear Smalls in their head. So I'm just like, I'm just let it be.
No, I love it. I love it. I gotta ask you: is there an exact number of tattoos we have on your body? Because wow, like whether it's like a photo or the video, like there's so many that kind of get revealed, like just through different motions. I think your body, you know, of course, is a work of art. But definitely talk about those tattoos, the excitement, the influence. Are we done with tattoos, or more coming on a daily basis?
More definitely coming.
Okay.
I'm definitely over 40 at this point. I've lost count. So, but yeah, no, I love them. They all mean something to me. And like you said, I think the body is a work of art for sure. And it's, you know, it's your avatar. It's your way of expressing yourself without words and without, you know, anything. It's energy. So that's just the way I've chosen to decorate myself. And they all are very meaningful to me. And they have, you know, different meanings and different symbolism. And yeah.
Gotcha. Just because I know there's a good, because I've seen like a guitar like somewhere in the arm, right? We got the guitar somewhere. Yeah. And I've seen like is it angel or bird wings around your ankle? I know that we have one or the other right over there.
Oh, the ankle. Yeah. That's actually the eye of Horus with wings around it.
Craziness. All right, just ballpark figure. What when you tap out of getting tattoos? What will that? Will we hit 3 digits, or do you think it'll be like 99 tops, tattoo wise, everywhere?
I don't know. That's hard to say because I like doing really small tattoos, and then I also like doing kind of medium-sized tattoos. So it's hard to count them sometimes because like for instance, I have these 3 on my neck, and it's like I got them all at the same time. They're all 3. They're just little dots. So it's like, do you count them as 3? Do you count them as 1?
Gotcha. Oh man, crazy. You know, I really want to talk about just how your videos have really evolved because, you know, preparing for this interview, I don't like to say interview, say conversation because this is random topics and whatnot, but, you know, preparing for this and seeing so many of your dope visuals, definitely want to talk about bass and just kind of that salute to Run DMC. Even on Team Nike, we will give some love to that whole Adidas movement, right? But, you know, and then, you know what? Here's what I want to ask you. Is there an infatuation with cars? Because I really noticed a lot of cars in the videos, not in every single video, obviously, but like I jotted it down. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Was it Keeper? There's one that's like everywhere. Like you're like in a garage with cars. I don't know.
Keeper, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Talk about it. Is it like the director's idea? Are you infatuated with cars? Talk about this car love.
I think that cars are just like a great thing to showcase in a music video. Like they always look nice. Like, you know, you're always looking for different visual aspects in your videos. And to be honest with you, like I've been an independent artist for you know, for a long time. And so, you know, it can be hard to get creative with content when you don't have like a major budget, like a major artist that's signed to a major label, right? So, you know, you're always looking for ways to kind of like decorate the scene and just make it look visually interesting, you know, and everybody loves cars. So, you know, that's really where it comes from. And for Keeper, there was a garage that, you know, friends of ours that had them. So we had that space and they had all these like really old school cars. And like, I really love that nostalgic vibe. That's like something that I like to integrate into my style and just into my music. And so I think that's why, like, sometimes a lot of times you'll see like, you know, little nostalgic things. Sometimes I'll have modern stuff too. Like in my video Dopamine, you see the T-Rex, but yeah, I like the old school stuff as well too.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and talk about Do Better. Obviously, you know, the latest visual, latest single. Was that nerve-wracking? Was it exciting? I know we got a different hairstyle for that one. We'll talk about that in a few moments as well. Like just all the creative just presentations that you give, but just talk about that cinematically appealing. Just throwback vibes. I don't think a lot of people were born in the 2000s know what a phone connected with a wire actually looks like before. So there's a lot of dope, like you said, nostalgic type things in there. Talk about creating that, and did it live up to what you envisioned?
Yeah, it did. You know, we really wanted to. It was directed by myself and my producer, and so we really just wanted to just kind of like play off the vibe of the song, but at the same time make it memorable. And so I think like, you know, in kind of bringing in some humorous moments, that was where we were going. And so we kind of just came up with a treatment and wrote out all the skits, the scripts for the skits. And we just wanted to kind of make it, you know, like I said, nostalgic. We were kind of like going for that like Home Alone kind of the Grinch type vibe, and then just giving it some humor. And so, you know, it's tough because sometimes when it comes to humor, I find that like everybody has a different sense of humor, and so you don't know how it's going to translate. Just because you find it funny doesn't mean everybody else will. But yeah, it seems to be translating in the way that, you know, that we wanted it to be. And we kind of had this idea of just like making it kind of feel like a show, almost like a Netflix show. And so we came up with this idea of like the shitty boyfriend, you know. And so, you know, I mean, maybe we can even make that into a Netflix show eventually. That's kind of like where we were going with it, and the idea that we had before, and we're just playing off of that with the video. Yeah.
No, yeah, because the color vibes are right there. I love the whole starring, you know, you see Smalls, and then, you know, you got everyone starring right there. I absolutely loved it. And obviously, you know, the world has loved it. It's racked up on the views, and it's a fun song. And then just talking about the concept of it, I've read the press releases and whatnot, but just ultimately, was it just like that perfect, you know, hey, play this around Valentine's Day or right after Valentine's Day, so that when you break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, they can know that they could have done better? Like, what was that motivation to get this out to the masses? And did you have fun pitting it, or was this like something that you wanted to try out?
Yeah, you know, it's like it was actually done about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And so it was kind of part of an arsenal of music that I've had and that keeps growing and growing over time. And so, you know, in just going over all the records that, you know, we're thinking about putting on the project that I'm going to be releasing this year, that was the one that we just decided on as the first single. And I just felt like it was, you know, it was a very universal record. It was kind of like friendly to a lot of different people who like different genres and different ages. So yeah, that was kind of like where we were going with it. And as far as the timing for Valentine's Day, we just kind of thought that it would be kind of like a cool anti-Valentine's Day song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, not specifically playing off of Valentine's Day, but, you know, not everybody has a boo on Valentine's Day. So
Got you. No, for sure, for sure. Now, with this, you know, upcoming project that you teased out, are you really cracking into that Lil Nas X country side of things and that rock side that's on your arm, that big old guitar? Like, because I've seen like little tidbits saying that, yo, your music and you've experimented and like showcased a lot of different sounds and flows. I think that must be a Toronto thing, right? Because like I know all the artists that come from your neck of the woods like had different sounds and flows and like Caribbean sounds. I mean, Drake and Tory and them. But definitely talk about, is there any truth to this kind of experimenting with country sounds and rock sounds on this new project?
Well, to be honest with you, that was actually an interview that I did on the press release, and it kind of got a little misconstrued because this project is not actually going to be like have any specific country or rock sounds, but basically what I was trying to say was that in my arsenal of music, you will normally find a lot of different kinds of sounds, even if they're subtle. And so you will find like a little bit of rock, and you'll find a little bit of country in some of the singles that I've released in the past and some of the albums that I've put out. And so that's just something that I strive to do, is just kind of to embrace diversity. And you're right, it's true. I think it is kind of like a characteristic of Toronto artists, and I think that comes from the fact that Toronto is such a diverse place culturally. So, you know, we're very mixed up here. It's not as separated and segregated as it is in other places. There's just like a lot. It's like a cultural melting pot, really. So, it's funny because like a lot of people give Drake shit about
like taking flows, right?
Yeah, or putting on different acts, like the you know, the Jamaican accent. They say he's not Jamaican or whatever they say about him, but we in Toronto understand that it kind of like, because there's so many different cultures, and especially the Caribbean culture is extremely dominant here, that it's actually not weird or it's not a bad thing or weird at all to see a person that is not Caribbean at all have kind of like a little bit of that essence, that accent, because it's actually almost integrated with the Toronto dialect. And so when you hear that, it sounds Jamaican, but to us, it's just Toronto. So,
well, Haley, I cannot tell you how many times I put on the headset on Call of Duty and call people waste man. And I think I got a lot of ting-tings I'm gonna throw around. Like even me being out here in Jersey, New York, I like, I get caught up, and granted, I might have more life, more life playing or something like that. But I get into that zone, and there are like those catchphrases, and Top Boy probably influenced that as well. But there are a lot of those expressions that 100%. I think even Quavo like credited Drake for like, I got a lot of ting tings like Drake and whatnot. So like he's already, so that's why like I think like a lot of like the love and hate kind of like go on Drake's back. But like you said, it's just the culture, right?
Right. That's just him bringing Toronto culture to the surface. And I think that, because we haven't had anybody before him bring that Toronto culture to the masses to that level, it kind of like, it can get misconstrued until it starts to become more of a common thing and more people bring it to the surface, and then people start to understand where it's coming from. But it's really just kind of like a misunderstanding. But when you come to Toronto, you really start to see how immersive that Caribbean culture is, and how it's really just integrated so much with the Toronto culture. So not many people here are actually born in Canada, and the ones that are born in Canada, we're like first generation. Like our parents are not born here. Like my father is not born in Canada; he's born in the Caribbean, which is very common here. And a lot of us are not even born here; we're immigrated. So
yeah, but I can't tell you how many more people like after like the 2016 election moved to your neck of the woods. So yeah, that's not weird at all. That after so-and-so got elected out here, that everyone evaded and set up camp in beautiful Toronto. So a few more things for you, Haley. I'm bugging out because I have so many questions, but I'm gonna just try to throw a few more at you. Is it Team Nike or Team Adidas? I gotta throw that at you because I see you flexing in like the Nike like crazy workout drip, and then I also see you flexing. I don't know if you have Pumas on too, but you definitely have the Adidas. For of course the base video. And don't hit me with the whatever feels good, whatever comfortable. Tell me, because you are a fashion queen from what I've seen.
Honestly, I mean, to be honest with you, I love both. I really do. Like, I love Adidas and I love Nike. I don't know if I can pick. I mean, I love the retro Adidas vibe as well, but Nike's so fresh. I don't know. I know you want me to pick, but I don't think I can.
I really want you to pick. Oh my gosh, Ellie. Man, I had like a screenshot of your video, but what for Action Bronson? Few more things for you. Let's definitely talk about, I wanted to go back to base. I love it. It's actually entered my workout grind playlist, which means like when I'm working out, throwing down, like you are so like gully and gutter and beautiful just with the wordplay. And then of course, once you see the visual, it just takes it to a whole nother level. Just talk about, was that fun, exciting, nerve-wracking? Because I've heard you get a little bit gutter on a few different records, but I know for a lot of people when they hear you like, oh, yo, that's Kelly Smalls. Like that sounded, and I want more of that. Just FYI, I want more of that. But just talk about that motivation for flipping that whole sound.
Yeah, so like I said, my producer and I were always in the studio, just kind of like trying to experiment and experiment with different sounds. And so like he was really like, yo, I really want to try to experiment with this, like, we're both big fans of the 80s. So he really wanted to like try to experiment with that 80s kind of like old school rap vibe. Yep. And so, it was really just an experiment, and we thought it came out dope, but it's one of those ones that's so different, especially for me, that we're just like, okay, wait, how are people going to take it? How's it going to be received? But just internally, it was received really well. So we were just like, let's put this out. And it was dope because it was the first video that I've shot outside of Toronto. So that was actually shot in New York, which was really dope and was, fitting for the vibe of the video. And we kind of wanted to give it like not just an East Coast vibe, but like West Coast vibe too, kind of almost like a marriage, because the production kind of have like that West Coast vibe, but at the same time, you get the Run DMC and all that. So it was super fun. It was super fun to shoot that in New York, and there really wasn't much of a budget behind the video. It was just something fun that we were doing. And yeah, like I'm glad you fucked with it.
Yo, it's crazy, and like just the confidence. And like, I know like in Hollywood you have actors that they're action heroes and like shoot up places and they're like way different off camera, or even with comedians, they're different in real life. But when I hear you on there, it's so like disrespectful. And I mean that from like a hip hop perspective, right? Like it's so like bitches and blah blah. I'm like, I love Kelly Smalls. Like, yo, and trust me, I love Do Better and all that, right? But like for me, especially when I'm like, yo, on my grind, like stationary bike or just jogging or whatever, muscles, oh man, like I love it. So I just want to know, are we gonna get more of that, or is this kind of like when the inspiration hits?
I think we're definitely gonna get more of that. Like my fan, I pay attention to my fan base and just like the statistics, just trying to understand you know, who they are. And so my fan base is basically half men and half women. And I think that that really comes from, like I said, I like to keep things diverse and relatable. One thing I don't like to do personally, and it's no knock
Okay.
against anybody who does it, but I don't like to specify gender wise when I'm writing records. Like I like to kind of keep it so that the guys can sing along and not feel like they have to change words. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, you know, I like it so that the females can sing along and they don't have to change words. You know what I mean? Everybody has their preferences and everybody feels differently. And like you said, you know, you like do better, but bass is like your thing. And I think that's why diversity is so important for me as an artist, because I think that, you know, you can't assume that everybody likes everything, because they don't. We all know that, right? And so I think the more you're able to be able to give something for everybody, the better for everybody. You know, you be able to capture more fans and just, you know, more music lovers that way.
No, for sure, for sure. And I gotta ask you, where's your second home? Because I know it's always gonna be Toronto, right? But obviously there's New York, there's LA. I know you spent time down at ATL. Do you have a second home? And it doesn't even have to be in the US, it could be elsewhere, right?
Right.
Wherever else, right? London, wherever. Do you feel like you have a second home, or is it just like, yo, Toronto's my home base and I just frequent other places?
Toronto's obviously home base. New York, I would probably say, is probably my second home. Majority of my team is based there, so a lot of times I'm in and out from Toronto and New York. I love LA though, because I'm a warm weather girl, so
Yeah,
I
there you go.
definitely I like to be amongst the palm trees and the warm weather. But yeah, New York is probably, I would have to say, probably my second home.
Got you, guys. And I promise I'll just throw a few more things at you. And then I'm going to beg your team for like a part two to this, because what I really like to do more than anything, Haley, is like, of course, we'll hit like the dotted lines and like, you know, talk about the music, but there's so much dope stuff about you that I really want to kind of like I said, I started this whole conversation with the twin video, right? Because
Right.
like, I didn't know about you. I can't believe that you've broken up with somebody. That was like a layup question, right? Have you ever broken up? Like, of course, man. You broken up with teddy bears when you were a kid, right? Or whatever the case was. But this is like the side of you that, like, I'll be honest, I was like trying to find like a lot of quirky, fun things about you. Up until that video, I was looking on IG and I was like, or you know, just different socials. I was like, there's so much that people want to know about you, and it may be intentional. You may be like, yo, I really want to keep personal, and keep everything else business. But there's so like, I want to ask you like anything about the new Batman movie, or you Team Marvel? Like, yo, do you sleep in the studio, or what do you eat late night in Toronto? So those are the types of questions I promise are going to be more so for part two.
Sure,
I really want to get this one in the book. So like, yeah, I will tell your team, as you're preparing new stuff, as you're gearing up for the album or project drop, I'm going to be begging for interviews. So just prepare for more of this, okay? So
Absolutely, I'm down.
try not to deny all those requests that are going to be coming from your team. Like, yo, Cyrus wants to talk again, okay? And he'll ask more questions other than bass. But more questions, family, I promise. So with that question, I wanted to ask, let me just look at my quick notes. What is it that I wanted to ask more than anything? With our time coming down to a decline, I really wanted to know, give me 1 second, Haley, I'm so sorry. I have so many notes for you. And it's just like, oh man, if I could just throw one or two at you. Let's definitely talk about you're physically, of course, attractive, beautiful, but with the hair different styles. I see Charlie Baltimore in some shots. I see so many different looks, and even with Do Better, I think, okay, I'm a guy, so give me some props, okay? Is it a bob? Is that the bob look? No.
It's like a pixie cut. It's more like a pixie. It's okay. You're close.
Close, right? So no, but definitely talk about just that, because I love the fact that we could take about 10 screenshots of you, show it to random people, and be like, that's a different person. Like that's so even in the I've Never, right? Or the twin video, like you look like two different people. And I love how you covered up the tattoos so people really couldn't like you know, piece together. But definitely talk about just talk about the motivation behind it, because I love the different looks, and it's almost like your musical style. Like you're never gonna get that same look for too long, or that same sound for too long.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I honestly, ever since I was a kid, like I switched up my hair a lot. So that's just kind of like a thing that I've always done. I get bored of the same style. So I like to switch it up. But at the same time, you know, I try to keep some continuity and just like understanding my style and making sure that my brand can still be translated and understood. So it's not like too confusing for people where they like literally don't even know who that is. So yeah, like I think, you know, this is like, obviously, like I love to rock my natural hair, but sometimes you just like to play and have fun in different styles, and sometimes different styles fit different vibes in different, you know, music videos, or whether you're doing a photo shoot or something like that. So
For
Yeah,
sure.
I think I'm always gonna be switching it up for sure.
Definitely, and you know what? It came back to me. I want to ask about the fashion because you're talking about LA, and like when I look at you, I see like the New York side, and then I can see like even I think I was referring to Keeper earlier, like it's kind of like ATL style, even though it's probably shot in Toronto, but I just think of car culture, like Memphis and Atlanta and things like that. And then, but I will say your overall like knack for fashion and even like the cleverness with the tattoos, that's so LA looking to me, right? And it might be a Toronto thing as well, but definitely
Yeah.
talk about just your love for fashion. And is that just something that you've had since you were a kid, or as you've gotten older and met, different influencers and influence other people yourself? Talk about that love for fashion for a moment.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've definitely always had a love for fashion. And I think like I've always kind of like had this thing in my mind of like wanting to be able to embrace different things. But for a long time as a young artist, I was really lost and confused of who I was. So, you grow up in a certain environment, and I think that that environment a lot of times tells you like how you should dress or how you should be. And music is the same. Like you kind of all the time when you're, especially when you're young, because I got into the music industry very young.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who I was, and so there was a lot of people that I would work with who would be trying to put different things on me, style wise, brand wise, music wise, and you can't blame them because if you don't know who you are, then it's up to other people to decide that are working with you. But that's really not it's not the way to succeed at anything, because I think authenticity is so important. And as people, we can sense that in other people, whether it's consciously or just subconsciously. We can sense whether somebody's authentic or not. So I think just like when I met my producer in 2014, like I had a lot of different revelations in just starting to realize that I needed to understand who I was at the core and kind of strip away those outer influences and try to figure out who it is that I wanted to be and who it is that I am. My aura, just my natural energy that I exude naturally. So I think like in those years, starting from 2014 up until now, I've been kind of like in that process, and now I understand who I am, and so expressing myself kind of feels just natural now. So the things that I choose to wear or the way that I choose to place my tattoos just naturally comes from the inner knowing of who I am now, which I had to work for, to be honest.
Oh my God, I'm telling you, like, I literally have like 25 more questions, but I'm gonna bring it all full circle and kind of end it on this note. Like I said a few moments ago, I love trying to like kind of pick at you and kind of just learn more about who the real Haley Small is, right? Not even what the small Haley Small is, right? And I'm just curious, like myself, like for the people that want to continue to support you and find out if you really have a twin or not, where do you really like to show off like a little bit more of your personal side? Is it an IG story? Is it on TikTok? Is it maybe not in existence and maybe like for the documentary that's going to be an Oscar-winning, project? Like where do we get that personal side of you, or is it a conscious decision?
I think for me, it is a conscious decision. I'm really, my team knows this, and I'm very big on balance and
Okay.
trying to balance the sides of myself, because I am naturally a private person, but at the same time, I do understand that expressing yourself kind of helps people understand you, and it also helps people relate to you. And I think that that's healing for people. So I kind of try to ride the balance between expressing who I am and kind of also leaving a little bit of, a little bit to people to kind of translate for themselves and kind of just see what I put out and decide for themselves what they see. I just kind of like things to be natural. And I think over time that will come out more and more, like you said. Like, I mean,
Sure.
I definitely want to document more as I continue to move around in the music industry and kind of have those things come out. I'm just not one of those people. Naturally, my personality is not one of those people to kind of jump on IG Live every couple days
Sure.
or just be out and out with everything that's going on in my life. I like to kind of express that through my music, and I think that I'm better captured naturally anyways. So I don't like to pick up the phone and talk too much to the camera.
Exactly. It's like I'm eating this right now. Look at the food, right? Or I'm going
Right.
shopping right now. Look at me pull up, right here at Tim Hortons or whatever the case might be, right?
Exactly. And I think that some people are great at that. Like that's just who they are. Their natural, their personality is that of just an entertainer. I think for me, I'm more of an entertainer in music. And my personality is something that I think people will get to know over time, kind of similar to if you knew me in real life. You probably wouldn't understand me right off the bat, but as you get to know me, you start to realize who I am, so I kind of want to keep it that way and just let it be natural.